If you are currently in a 9 to 5 or working a 9 to 5 job and you feel like you are stuck, you feel like you're working a lot of hours, you're missing time away from your family, missing time away from your friends, and you just do not know exactly why that is, it is because you are currently trapped in a 9 to 5. And in today's video, what we're going to be talking about are the three things that keep you stuck in the 9 to 5. All right. So I actually went and started reading again this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is actually right here. And in this first chapter, I was actually blown away that I did not remember as much as I thought I did from this book. And the reason why I say that is because we often go and we start learning something new and we think that we're just going to memorize everything, but it's always good to go back and review it and see it again, because as you start to evolve as a person, you start to think a different way. So the first thing that I decided, or not decided, but that I actually relearned again, is the fact that many of us are stuck in the 9 to 5 trap. All right. And what does that mean? It means we were told to go to school, we were told to get a good job, we were told to make sure that whatever career that we have, that we stay at that job, and that we go and we save money. And that is something that causes for us to feel like we're stuck in a trap. Because I don't know about you, but when I decided that I wanted to go to school, I decided to become an engineer. And the main reason was because I wanted to earn a lot of money. I thought that by becoming an engineer, I was going to be able to be rich. And what I actually discovered is that by becoming an engineer, it actually caused for me to be stuck. And by being stuck, that means that I do not have control over my time. Why? Because I have to go to work. I'm not in control of how much money I'm actually able to make, because the job is going to determine how much money I'm able to make. So in today's video, that's what we're going to be talking about. What actually keeps people stuck at a 9 to 5 job? And the first thing is, which was actually surprising to me, is your mindset. Now, you may be thinking, Matthew, how is it that your mindset keeps you stuck at a 9 to 5 job? Well, what I actually learned from this first chapter in this book is that many people go after a job because of fear and greed. Now, what does fear and greed have to do with having a 9 to 5 job? Well, the fear is, you may have a fear, or even I had this fear of not being able to pay my bills, not being able to pay for my car note, living paycheck to paycheck, or not being able to have enough money to do certain things that I wanted to do, and even certain things that I know I needed to do. And what that ended up causing is, it caused for me to be stuck. Instead of thinking about ways to go and earn extra income without having to spend 10, 15, 20, or even 40 hours per week, what I would end up thinking about is, man, if I actually go to my job, I will be able to earn this amount per month or per hour. And because I earn this amount per hour, if I go and I put in this amount of hours, I should have this amount of money come back to me. And this is the first thing that's going to keep you stuck. Your mindset. Your mindset of spending or exchanging your time for money. When you go and exchange your time for money, that's going to be the biggest trap. Mainly because of the fact that once you actually spend that time or utilize that time, you can never get that time back. However, if you were to lose some money, you can always go and get that money back. And that is the first thing that you have to overcome when you start thinking about being stuck in a 9 to 5 trap. Now, the next thing that you have to think about is, you have to start thinking about, well, what is your programming? All right. Programming. Now, what is it that I think about programming? What is the first thing that you actually think about? That's kind of connected to your mindset. What is the first thing that you think about? Many of us do not think about, hey, how can I earn extra income without having to utilize my time? We are programmed to think that we have to have a job. We are programmed to think that we have to exchange our time for money. We are programmed to think that if we do not go to work, we are not going to be able to have a good life. And it causes for us to be stuck, which goes back to this fear and greed. We have the fear of, man, if I don't go to work, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. I'm not going to be able to take care of my family. And we have been programmed to be like that. So what we have to do is, now what we have to go and change our entire mindset to think in a totally different way. Now, what's this way that we have to think? You know, many people, and even I used to think about this. I used to think that, man, for me to become rich, I need to be able to earn hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars. But actually becoming rich is not about how much money you earn, but it's about how much money you actually keep. Now, you may be thinking, Matthew, that doesn't really make sense. I actually need more money. You may think that you need more money, but it's really you need to learn how to control the money that you have coming in right now. You know, one of the biggest things that I discovered is that people lose out on money because they are living above their means. And the reason why you are living above your means is because you were programmed to do that. You are programmed to think that, well, I need to have this big house because if I have company coming over, I need somewhere for people to go. I need for somewhere that is going to be good enough to entertain people. And that is part of the programming. When you are programmed to think like that, that causes you to live above your means. It causes you to spend money that you don't need to spend. It causes for you to be in this 9-to-5 trap because now all you're thinking about is, well, I have to go get this job to earn enough money to buy this house, to be able to entertain people when they possibly come over, and they're not even coming over that much. All right? Now, the last thing is, which is not talked about a lot, are taxes. Now, you may be thinking like, well, Matthew, how are taxes part of the 9-to-5 trap? Taxes is the hidden thief of your money. And if you do not pay attention to the taxes, you are going to end up being broke. When I first started working, what I saw that I was actually being offered for my job, I was offered $90,000 a year, all right? $90,000 per year. Now, what I believed at first was that by earning this $90,000 per year, that I was actually going to be earning $90,000 per year. But that's not actually how much I'm earning. And you might be saying, well, Matthew, how is it that you're not earning that much? Well, first you have to think about your state taxes, all right? Well, most people, they already know about this, so I'll go with the first one. Income. You have income taxes. Everybody knows about income taxes. Many people know about the Fed taxes. But then you have state taxes. Then you have property taxes. Then what's another one? Then you have sales taxes. Sales taxes is when you go and you purchase a car or you go to the grocery store. You have all of these taxes that are actually coming and hitting your money. So this is actually not $90,000 that I'm earning because this could change. You know, this could be at 20%. This can end up being at 10%. This can end up being at 5%. And it's going to vary depending on where it is that you're actually living. And when you actually look at all of this, this is what's coming out of your money. That doesn't also include the fact of now what you end up having is you end up having benefits that are coming out, right? Benefits at your job, which are coming out. Then you have retirement planning, all right? Retirement. So you end up having all of these things coming out of your yearly salary. And mainly this right here is what's really eating people alive. Because you have all of these taxes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 taxes that are coming out. That doesn't include, depending on where you live. Like I used to live in Virginia. And Virginia has something that's called a commonwealth tax, which is a tax that you pay just for living in certain city limits. And what ends up maybe being $90,000 per year because of all of these taxes, benefits, retirement, instead of actually earning $90,000 per year, what I actually end up earning maybe somewhere close to $60,000 per year. And this goes back to the programming that I talked about of living above your means. When you're programmed to live above your means, you're programmed to think or look like you have money. You're programmed to go buy that car to make it look like you have a nice lifestyle. Go buy that house because it looks like you have like a nice lifestyle. But in reality, you're living like you're earning $90,000 per year, but you're really earning $60,000 per year because of all of these taxes. This is how much that's really hitting your bank account. And one of the things that I really found very intriguing is if you go to a bank, all right, if you go to a bank and you're going to buy a house, they are purposely putting you in debt. And you may be thinking, well, how are they purposely putting you in debt? Because they are not loaning you money to get a house, which now I understand why Robert Kiyosaki says that your house is a liability and not an asset. But they are not giving you a house based on, or loaning you money on a house based on this number right here, which is how much you are probably actually getting into your bank account. They are actually loaning you money on this $90,000 right here. And because they're loaning you money based on this $90,000 per year, which you are actually not seeing, that is automatically putting you into debt. And because you're automatically getting put into debt, this is why it takes so long for people to actually get out of debt. It's taking so long for people to actually pay off their house, to pay off their car. Because many people don't talk about these taxes. And then also, and I'll give you a bonus one, number 4. Number 4, they don't talk about interest rates, all right? That's bonus number 4, interest rates. The interest rates on whatever it is that you're purchasing, it actually matters. If you do not understand the taxes you are paying, if you do not understand the interest rates, you are going to be in for a world of hurt. And that is what's going to cause you to stay trapped in the 9 to 5. Because now you're sitting there thinking, well, man, I went and I bought this house. And yes, on paper it says I'm making $90,000 per year. However, when I'm actually looking at my income hitting my bank account, that's only $60,000 per year. But because I have this house, now what do I have to do? I have to stay at this job. I have to go to work. And all you start doing is I have to. People go buy a house. And what do they say? I have to go buy, or I have to go to work because I got to pay for the mortgage. People buy a car. What do they say? I have to go to work because I got to pay for this car note. I have to pay for this car insurance. People, they go and start getting all these different things. They start going on these trips, buying all these clothes. And all it is a means to an end because you're trying to reward yourself off of the fact of you're working hard. Yes, you're working hard, and you should take some time out to enjoy what you are working on. However, you have to start thinking about how can you actually get out of this 9 to 5 trap? Because whether you believe it or not, you are in a trap. You are in a system. I'm going to say that again. Whether you believe this or not, you are in a trap. You are in a system. And I'm actually going to leave you all with this. Whatever it is that you do not know and you do not understand, just because you don't know it and just because you don't understand it does not mean that you get a pass. It is being used against you by someone that does know it and someone that does understand it. So I would admonish you, or I would challenge you, encourage you, empower you, whatever it is that you do not know. Now, specifically in this video, I'm talking about the 9 to 5, and we're talking about money. Whatever it is that you do not know, it is up to you to go learn. People are going to use the excuse, well, my mom didn't teach me how to do this. My dad didn't teach me how to do this. If you are even watching this video, and really when you get to a certain point in life, you are now accountable for everything that you do and everything you don't do, and it's based off of your knowledge. You can use the excuse of you're 15, 16, or whatever, and say that you don't know. Okay, fine. But once you get to a certain age, you have to start taking accountability for what you don't know. What you don't know will, and it currently is, hurting you, and you must go and figure out how to actually get out of this trap, which is what I'm doing right now. One of the first things that I would suggest for you to do is to start reading. You can even start with this book right here, Rich Dad Poor Dad. One of the things that really got me is that this book was written over 20 years ago. However, it is so valid still till this day. It's 2025. I believe this book was probably written in like 2005 or something like that. And it is still empowering. It is still very relevant. And it can help you in your situation. But what you have to do is you have to humble yourself, not think so highly of yourself to where you think you know everything. You think you can't be taught. You think that, well, you earn $90,000 a year at your job or $100,000 or whatever, and you think that you're living this life, but really you're living inside of a trap. One of the greatest things that I've actually learned from this book so far, and I haven't even finished the book, but it's not about how much money you earn, it's about how much money you keep. And the money that you keep, when you're able to get that money and build a system, or you're able to get that money and put it in a system that is going to work for you, where your money is working for you, that is what's going to allow for you to escape this 9-to-5 trap. So I hope that you were able to get some value from this video. If you were, make sure you go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace out for now.